Now, I've sometimes had this moment where I realize that I've been talking about the same topic for years. So, for example, years ago, I wrote this. Starting from the day you are born, your senses take in an endless stream of information. Everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell is remembered and can be referred to as an experience. So this by itself shows some understanding around the word experience. And you could say that someone who wrote this understands it pretty well. And at the time of writing it, I really felt like I did. I was like, yes, I have mastered this topic. But then I wrote about 9 or 10 more pages on this one topic, and in the time span of doing so, I learned so many new things. And when I finished writing, I was like, yes, now I've really mastered this topic. And now, many years later, I look at that same document and I think to myself, I know you understood it pretty well at the time. You really did. Good job. But you don't understand it like we do now. We have mastered this topic. So like this, understanding can change and increase over time. And I think the easiest way to explain this is by discussing mental representations. A mental representation is a mental structure that corresponds to an object, an idea, a collection of information, or anything else, concrete or abstract, that the brain is thinking about. One example that was given in the book was the mental representation of a dog. When we first get introduced to a dog, we still just have this label for a vague connection between all this disconnected knowledge. A dog is furry, has 4 legs, can be trained, young ones are called puppies, etc., etc. Once you spend time around dogs and start to understand them, all this loose information becomes integrated into one holistic concept that is represented by the word dog. And once you form this mental representation, anytime you hear the word dog, all this information is readily available. So this process of adding ideas to concepts is one of the key components of mental representations. The mental representations around abstractions, concepts, and ideas are a little bit harder to master. This is because there's no simple sensory information to hold on to. So for example, right now, if you are new to the idea of mental representations, then you are currently forming a mental representation around the concept mental representation. All I can put in the middle here is this word combination, which then has to represent that vague concept in your mind, and then all you can connect it to is other abstractions. But hopefully, as you manage to connect this idea to the visualizations I'm giving right now and other ideas that you are already familiar with, you manage to create an understanding anyway. So, as a finish for the explanation, let's go back to me understanding experience. So at first, I only had a base understanding. If I were to talk about it, I wouldn't necessarily say anything stupid or wrong, but the understanding wasn't all too deep. Then, as I wrote those 9 to 10 more pages, I started not just forming a mental representation on the word experience, but also started forming a mental representation on the words around it. This then allowed this to become a two-way path, which in return deepens my understanding of experience, making it better than before. So really getting into related topics around a subject allows you to view that subject from different angles, creating a better understanding. Now, after many more years of just even naturally learning, my mental representation around the word experience has grown so much, and it doesn't quite compare to where it started. And if I were now to get occupied with it, I get to apply all my new knowledge to it. And so by revisiting this topic, I would be able to elevate my understanding to a new level that I couldn't before.